a quick recap of CJI, I want to talk about the event itself. I want to talk about how the Australia team did, and I'll talk about that final decision as well, just my thoughts on that. First off, the event, amazing event. It's the biggest event for the year in grappling, and I think put on a great show. The atmosphere was incredible. I think the matches were great. It would have been nice to see more submissions, of course, but if you like jiu-jitsu, you appreciate all the battles that are going on at every point. Each grip battle I think is exciting from my perspective. I guess that's where it's like, for the casual, for the person who doesn't do jiu-jitsu, obviously you want potentially more action, and I think it was great when they brought in that extra 50K bonus. That's awesome from the anonymous investor to kind of help incentivize things there. Probably overall with the format, like having teams, there's definitely especially the new wave versus B team rivalry, that adds another element to the show. On the downside, I think just probably incentive wise, if you're losing a match, the worst thing that can happen for your team is you get submitted. So if you're losing, there is a bit more incentive to sort of not try to get out. Whereas from an individual competition, if it's just you trying to progress to the next round, if you're in a bad position, you have to get out. You have to take some risks and get out, potentially risk getting submitted, because otherwise you're going to lose anyway. So probably incentive-wise, that was an issue. But then you add that to the whole team thing, and I think that keeps it quite exciting. So yeah, I loved it. I thought it was really good. The team itself, so we had 66 kilo Fabricio Andre. That guy, I love his style. He brings it, to try and stand and wrestle against most of the 66 guys. Obviously, Dorian wrestled, but most of the 66 guys were kind of pulling guard and trying to sort of stay on their back, not turtle, which is honestly that's the safest thing to do in this rule set. It's more about surviving if you're against a big guy, whereas Fabricio is trying to stand up, trying to throw them. If he's getting taken down, he's trying to bounce back up. So I think he's, for the event, a very exciting fighter. And for his first match, he had Alan Sanchez. He was able to have some really good passing and show a bunch of really good things from his game. His second match, he had Victor Hugo. I think probably there is a point where trying to wrestle against someone big enough starts getting tough. So yeah, that was a huge sizing factor. I thought he did great. Next was Kenta. What a performance. Hey, he was a replacement for Lee. Obviously, we were going to have Levi. Kenta came in and he did a fantastic job against Kyle Bain in that first match. Really good passing, takedowns. And then against Nicky Rod, it's all around. That was probably my favorite match of the whole tournament, his match with Nicky Rod. I thought he really brought it to him. Someone, such a good wrestler in Nicky Rod, and Kenta being able to get takedowns, reversals, and even submission attempts. So it was really nice. So he was probably my favorite fighter of the event, actually. At 88, we had Lucas Canard. He was actually, I kind of had him as one of our biggest submission threats. I think probably our two biggest three submission heavy people were Canard, Declan, and Bilal. I thought they were probably the most likely to come away with submissions. Canard, especially with the leg locks, I think he matches up so well against bigger opponents, and that's the hard thing, trying to you kind of don't know who they're going to bring out, so you're kind of hoping you get a good matchup. Unfortunately, he came against PJ Barch and Wojcik, who are both very good leg lockers, so it kind of negated his style to some degree. I still think Canard would have got the decision on both of those matches, which shows how good he is. These are top quality competitors, and I think he still would have got the nod in terms of the points, but I was really hoping to match him up with someone bigger. We actually got B team played a trick on us, actually. So they had, because I wasn't going to send Kenta out first in that second round, and then Kyle walks back. He's like, I just saw Nicky Rod and Victor Hugo warming up. And I was like, oh, they're probably going to and the others weren't. And I thought maybe they're going to put their big people out. I'm going to send Kennard out. And we were going to put Declan out instead first. Yeah, and they got us. That changed my order.
Coach, you have your first competitor.
Yep.
His name, sir?
Chris Wojcik.
All right, here we go.
And yeah, so it ended up against Wojcik, so obviously another leg lock specialist, so that was kind of a draw. But anyway, even if we put Declan out, I think from what Declan was saying against Wojcik, he's a hard, it takes a long time to pass Wojcik, so it might have been not a submission anyway. We really wanted either Declan or Lucas getting a submission in that second one. So. Then we had at 99 Bilal, so he, I think he was one of the, stories of the event at least. He went out swinging, he got his submission with Gio, and then in the second, then he had to go against Kyle Bain, and Bilal, he's always looking for the submission. He wants to get in there and do his thing. I tried to talk him out of it a little bit before before the match. I'm like, dude, we're up, like, go for leg locks, but if you're in a 50-50 battle, let's play conservative. But I think it's hard to change your like how you train. You need to sort of prepare for different things. So that's something we'll work on in the room, just like being a bit more on defense as well, and playing in the pocket a bit more. He's such a dangerous. His leg locks are so good, so I can see why he had the confidence to play the counter game there. And then so he unfortunately got injured. He verbal tapped. And then tapped, and then it kind of, I don't know if it was when the ref came in or whatever, but like it was probably a little bit of time from when he actually said, like, from when he verbal tapped to actually the leg lock being applied, being stopped, and I think that made the injury considerably worse, which is a shame because you lose a fighter for the next day essentially. He woke up the next day, he's like, I can't step on, I can't even walk, like, and I'm like, well, if we have to, we'll pull you out. I was trying to see if they would let us get Kit Dale in as a replacement, but they wouldn't let us. So I'm like, Bilal, is there a way, can we get it, like, if you like tuck your foot under your own leg, like, can you just lie down and hope that they try to mount you and you just defend? Because, like, if we were able to get up a submission and he could somehow survive, we can still win. Obviously this was with some advice, chatting to the physio as well as to whether there was a physio there doing an assessment just to make sure there's nothing too bad is going to happen. We basically had it, if someone started to grab his leg, he was going to tap straight away. Anyway, he went out there, he unfortunately got Victor Hugo, another very big, good competitor. Victor was very aware to keep his legs away and got the submission. And lastly, Declan. Declan was amazing too. Declan, I think, out of everyone there, his passing, I think, was the best. His north-south passing, I think he got the best passing against flexible guards. He looked so good all around, and he's unfortunately, like, Ethan Kralison just was doing a very good job at just in those late stage positions, like hiding his arms and getting his elbow back, pummeling his forearm back underneath against like head arm chokes, and he wouldn't turn his back. He'd obviously be, and that's just like, it comes down to the rules. But I think those matches are the decider. If you get a big mismatch, a 90 plus 99 against a 66, you probably, most of the submissions from the event came from that. You had like Bilal and Gio, you had Fabricio got submitted against Victor Hugo, you had Pato got submitted by Luke Griffith. Like, most of the submissions came when there was a big mismatch in size, and that's such a decider, because if you get a submission, that's awesome. If you don't, the best you get is a 10-9 round. So yeah, that was it for our team. I thought the whole team was amazing. I'm very proud of everyone, and I was honoured to get to coach those guys on the day.
Well, your finals are set for later on this evening. Team New Wave are going to be taking on the B team.
In terms of the final, yeah, so the result was B team got the victory. Look, I think if you read what was written, and certainly there's kind of two things. There's what was the intent, and then what's actually like how it was written and how you could interpret that. And then there's the third thing, is like, what was everyone actually like what did everyone actually have in their mind when they were fighting and competing? So look, the way it was written, it does look like you certainly could interpret it as if you it's whoever won the most rounds that would get the decision. the intent of it, I believe, was not that, because if you look at it, this would be the order I would write the rules anyway. If someone has more submissions, they go through. Then you tally up the points, and then it goes through. And if not, if it's a draw, it goes down to the last match. That's how it should. That was the intent. I'm sure that's the thing that was communicated by Craig about how he wants the rules. When it was written up, they kind of didn't have any writing about the score from tallying points. They just said, like, I think that they had a line about like whichever team has the most individual wins, which I think was probably meant to be written as has the highest score in points, but it wasn't, and you could certainly interpret that as like B team had 3 wins. Sorry, New Wave had 3 wins, B team had 2, therefore New Wave wins. So, look, I think because of that, that's why New Wave got the $1 million. But what was everyone actually fighting for? Well, I know for my strategy, I had it so you want to put a strong competitor last, because that last match actually counts quite a lot. So that's why, in the first match, I put Kenta last. He probably doesn't have the strongest submissions, like his positional game, I think is stronger than his submission game. So I thought he's probably going to out-position everyone. He'll probably win a decision at the very least, and I'll put him last. Because then, therefore, if it's a tie, he's going to get us through over the line. In the second match, we had Bilal was injured. I didn't even know if I wanted to put him out there. I was going to basically, if the team was losing, we were down on a submission, he was last, I was going to pull him. That actually ended up being the case, and he walked out. I'm like, dude, do you actually want to do this? You're now going to have to submit someone and survive the next match. And he's like, I want to do it. Okay, but my original plan was actually to pull him if we were in that scenario. So that's why I had him last, just kind of see how the matches were played out. But otherwise, I would have tried to put, Bilal's a more submission guy. I would have probably put someone with a greater positional game last. Now, if you look at the way B Team and New Wave played that last thing, they put their 2 probably strongest people last. Nicky Rod and Luke Griffith were the last picks. There's a reason they did that, I think, is because they thought if it goes to a draw, then this last match is the decider. Now Nicky Rod obviously won that, so that was the thing that got them through. But that's how I think everyone was playing the game, with the idea of the last match is the decider. So I think from that perspective, I think all the competitors were thinking that. Certainly when we discussed in the rules meetings, there's kind of what's written down, and then there's you have meetings with we had 4 meetings with the coaches, with the judges. You even you're talking to them around the mat and so on. So the rules were changing throughout, they're changing different reset positions and so on. It definitely did seem like it was a fluid situation. So anyway, I think probably if you went by pure letter of the law, New Wave has a case, but in terms of the intent and what everyone was actually using, I think B Team deserved that decision. So
what do you think of people who didn't turn up but apparently watched the whole thing and complained a lot?
What do I think? Yeah, I probably won't comment on that.